Friday, Atlanta Public School District accused of not doing enough to protect a student from a parapro arrested for sexual assault.
At the heart of the family's allegation is that the district failed to remove the parapro after a student first made the complaint. They allege the district's missteps continued from there.
11 Alive's Joe Hankey is on this story, all new for us at 5 o'clock.
Well, Jeff and Cheryl, we first covered this paraprofessional's arrest and firing from Atlanta Public Schools in 2018. In Fulton County, he is still awaiting trial connected to that arrest after being indicted on 8 felony charges connected to sexual assault claims. Now, APS, the superintendent, associate superintendent, and paraprofessional are being sued in federal court by the victim and the victim's parents. Sanchez Waller worked at Bunch Middle School in southwest Atlanta as a paraprofessional. The lawsuit claims in September of 2017, he punched and grabbed a student in the genitals, and someone filed a complaint with APS. District officials are accused in violation of APS policies of not investigating or taking appropriate actions and letting Waller return to work on the same day after that complaint. Then in 2018, the spring semester, Waller allegedly sexually assaulted a 13-year-old boy 7 different times. The boy's parents reported the abuse in May of 2018. Waller would be arrested and fired days later. This week, the boy's family filed the federal lawsuit. An APS spokesman sent me a statement this afternoon saying APS is aware of allegations and misconduct of the subsequent criminal charges lodged against Sanchez Waller. APS terminated Mr. Waller in May 2018, remains committed to providing a safe environment and protecting the welfare of its students, and intends to cooperate fully with law enforcement. While APS does not comment on pending litigation, it disputes this matter has been handled inappropriately. Before being arrested and fired, though, the lawsuit details Waller allegedly encouraging other students to harass and bully the 13-year-old victim. I'll have those details coming up at 6.